New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Nick of Time show. Here to give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time, and it's time to talk about some NBA rumors, Knicks news, and things to catch you up on what's going on around the NBA. So I'm just ready to talk about it all. And you know what? We're bringing back a segment, all right? We're bringing back Knicks for clicks or Knicks legit. So let's get into it. But before I get into it, I'm going to introduce you to my guys. First and foremost, it is the Latin Assassin, ESPN contributor, posting and toasting contributor, Bleacher Report contributor, KOT contributor. Yes, Kavito, what's going on?
Great to be talking ball with two of my favorite people to talk ball with. It's been a busy weekend on the NBA front, and the rumors for Knicks for clicks never stop. So here we are talking about the newest wave.
All right. Now, also we have our guy, Mr. NBA Economy himself. He doubles as a mod and a commentator, and he's growing his own YouTube channel. That's doing pretty well. Our guy, Fritz Alessandor, with the fresh lighting. What's going on, Fritz?
Doing good. Yeah. People are always talking about New York, but we got to see if it's just talk or is it worth your time?
Right. For real. And let's get to it. The newest buzz that has been circling the NBA is the talk of LeBron James. Now, you know, the LeBron James and the Knicks, they kind of have a little bit of history. I don't know if you guys remember the incident, the water bottle challenge incident that happened when LeBron James was spinning the water bottle at the bench while it was blowing the Knicks out. Well, Phil Jackson was running the Knicks. I don't know if you guys remember the decision when the Knicks and Miami Heat and other teams were in the mix for LeBron James to join the team, and he picked the Miami Heat. Well, now there is more speculation about LeBron James leaving, and some Knicks fans are thinking, mate, why not come to the Knicks? And this is what caused it. So recently, LeBron James picked up his option, right? A $52.6 million option. And as he's picking that up, Rich Paul, his agent, kind of makes a statement and he explains the decision to Shams. And he explains that LeBron James will be closely monitoring the Lakers' moves on whether the team is positioning itself this offseason to fill a title contending roster. And LeBron wants to compete for a championship. And he knows the Lakers are building for the future. He understands that, but he wants to be realistic. And he knows, that LeBron wants to win a championship. And they've had a partnership with Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka in the past. But this is a critical part in his career. And he wants to make sure the Lakers are on the same page as he is, which kind of started some debate on whether he's going to move in offseason, maybe next season, and even talks about him moving to the Knicks. There was even an audio circulating where he's eating dinner and he talks about how he's going to retire next year, LeBron James. This is LeBron James himself. And you kind of hear like a muffle where it seems like he's trying to mention a team that he might go to, and some people say it's the Knicks, and some people saying we can't really hear. It's a big mess. So I just want to turn this question around to this esteemed panel. Do you feel like LeBron James coming to the Knicks is an actual thing, a realistic thing? And two, do you think the speculation is Knicks for clicks or is this legit? You can start off with Fritz.
I think it's speculation. It's not. I know people are gonna take LeBron's words, they're gonna twist it and saying, "Oh, he's hinting." I think what people are doing is they're skipping a few steps. Skipping a few steps, and they've come to the conclusion that the Knicks could be the place he goes. I don't think they're told they can't They may not be wrong, but they've skipped a few steps.
What steps would you say they skipped?
Some confirmation. Um, there's been zero word from the Knicks. There's been zero word from LeBron. I just think that LeBron probably is hinting that he is leaving. I think they're just jumping to the conclusion that the Knicks is the place for LeBron to land.
You're saying, Lee?
I find this to be a fascinating situation. I was the one that brought this topic up for us to discuss because I think it's important for us to finally have one final conversation on does LeBron in New York make sense. It's been something that's been going on since 2010 when Donnie Walsh was handed the edict by James Dolan to clear salary cap, trading off Zach Randolph for basically nothing, peanuts, and not even getting picks back. Basically, all of our talent, Jamal Crawford too, to get LeBron in the decision, and he didn't come. And then there was another conversation when he went to the Cavs about possibly coming to New York, and so on and so forth. Then we went to the Lakers. There's conversation we let the Cavs possibly New York. He's always been tied to New York because it would. I think him winning a championship with the Knicks would push him over the edge of Jordan because he would give such a championship star fan base their first chip. He would be the king of New York forever. And as the second best, first best, depending on where you stand, player of all time, he would also become the greatest Knick of all time. I have a very complex and sometimes contradictory view on this trade. I do not have any narratives around LeBron. I'm not a LeBron stan or a LeBron hater. I think he has conducted himself in almost the best way you possibly could as a professional athlete while having the highest expectations ever placed on a professional athlete upon entering their professional sport. And I think he's handled that mostly with grace. Now, if you want to be living in the dark web and you're saying that he was at Epstein Island and he was hanging out at Diddy parties, listen, all that is conjecture until you show me concrete proof. All I can go by is what my two eyes see. And my two eyes tell me he's been an upstanding individual, a great father, and a solid husband. If that's not true, I don't have any evidence to the contrary. You have to show it to me. So that being said, I would love to have him in New York, even at 40 years old. I would sign him in an instant. I would trade for him in an instant. But what I would trade and what I would sign vary. He is under contract. He just opted in for, I believe, his $56 million player option. To aggregate salaries to get LeBron, you would have to include either or Mitchell Robinson and OG Anunoby. If those two are included, I am 100% out of any conversation. Immediately hang the phone up when it says OG Anunoby. I would not trade the backbone of our defense for a 40-year-old LeBron James. I certainly wouldn't trade the backbone of our defense with the other backbone of Mitchell Robinson for a 40-year-old LeBron James. I do think about it if it's a combination of Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges. I think about it. I've been thinking about that all day, and I've yet to come down to a concrete answer on would I do that trade or not. And what leans me toward not doing that one is you are purposefully shrinking your window when there's no need to do so. Right now with Jalen Brunson and the mean age of our core players is around 27 to 28. Do you compromise that by giving yourself a 2-year window with LeBron where it's probably going to take some of your swaps? It's probably going to take your two defensive backbones. Now you have to go out and really fill these holes with minimum contracts in free agency. Is that a championship team as it is? And can it win within a 2-year window? That is a giant red glaring question mark.
You took the conversation where I was going to take you, Lee. You took the conversation where I was going to take it. LeBron James is a phenomenal player. He's done a lot, but like the lot of scenarios that I've seen involve trading away OG Anunoby, which we know why OG Anunoby is here. OG Anunoby is specifically here to cover up the shortcomings of Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. So now what you're saying is, to the hell with that, we're going to add another defensive liability because LeBron James, as good as he is, he's declining defensively. He can't really put out the same output he used to, and he conserves energy for big spots. So you're now saying we're going to concede defense altogether and just outscore you. Now, granted, the offense is going to be the offense. LeBron James is a mastermind. I feel like Jalen Brunson on the offensive end of the ball can probably learn a lot from LeBron James. Just like I say, you can learn a lot from Chris Paul. I feel like he can pick LeBron James' brain, and it'll affect him tremendously. I just think defensively, those three sharing the court at the same time, I think it's going to be way too much to overcome. Which is way too much to overcome, and that's how I see it.
I probably would give up a little bit more than you guys, but a lot of this conversation revolves around timing. And for LeBron to make this statement, it couldn't have come at a worse time. Like it couldn't, like literally a day before free agency. Like if you had this conversation a month ago and LeBron wanted to come to the Knicks and the Knicks had to give a little too much, your justification could have been, oh, we had free agency and LeBron could get free agents to come to the Knicks. But now you're talking about trading for LeBron after free agency has started, and you can't make up for what you gave too much in a trade because free agency is already in full swing. So the timing is bad. Also, I think a lot of Laker fans are upset of the timing of LeBron's message because right before free agency, a lot of them were thinking that he was going to take a pay cut and that they were going to maybe try to add something for this year. And basically in his statement, he is not taking the pay cut. He is opting in. He wants every cent of that contract. He is not taking a back seat for the Lakers. Yeah. So you have to, the timing is very, 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 very bad.
Yeah. Welcome to the panel. My guy Ryan G in the building. What's going on, Ryan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I could not miss this conversation today because talking about LeBron James, and I do have a few thoughts to get off as well regarding this topic.
Go ahead.
All right, so I'm gonna preface what I'm gonna say by saying this. I've always been an advocate for LeBron coming to the Knicks if there was any possibility of that happening because of the caliber of player he is and the fact that when he comes to a team, he automatically raises that team's ceiling. You know, like he's the type of player that he can carry a team on his back all the way to the finals, and that's what he did during his years in Miami. That's what he did during his years in Cleveland. But here's the thing now, and I think this is what people forget. You know, people who are advocates of bringing LeBron to the Knicks. The last few seasons that LeBron has played, if you recall, LeBron is different now from during his time with the Cavs and during his times with earlier with the Los Angeles Lakers, because the last few playoff series that they've had, especially when before the Luka trade and those two series against the Denver Nuggets, late in games he was fading in the playoffs. He was not making as big of an impact as he used to do back when he was in his prime. And I think people have to consider that, and Fritz touched on it as well. The fact that the Knicks would have to trade for LeBron, so you're giving up key pieces already on the Knicks to bring in a player that, although yes, he's still very good, even past his prime, you have to consider his last few playoff performances. Will he hold up in a season to where when the playoffs come, will he be able to sustain that same level of play to get the Knicks to the promised land? And people have to consider that. This is not Cavs LeBron we're talking about. This is not Miami LeBron we're talking about. This is not even early Lakers LeBron that we're talking about. We're talking about a LeBron that's at the tail end of his career. He's probably going to play maybe 1 or 2 more seasons before he retires. And you're going to give up key championship pieces already on the Knicks to bring this guy in to the team. So considering that, if I'm in the Knicks front office, I would not make that trade, because to me it's like, if I'm going to make a trade for a superstar where I'm giving up key pieces to bring somebody in, I'd rather bring in somebody who's within Jalen Brunson's prime years
Yeah.
and the rest of the roster's prime years, where those guys can play together for 3, 4, 5 years and make championship runs back to back to back. I mean, of course, the first apron, the second apron is going to come into play. You can't keep everybody, so you may have to do some roster moves or roster shifts, along the way to keep the team competitive and at the same time don't go deep into the second apron. But if I'm to make a move like that, I'd rather it be for a player that's within his prime and that he could play with Brunson throughout his prime and keep those guys together and see what they can do, rather than trade for a player who's past his prime where he only got 1 or 2 years left and I'm giving up key pieces for that.
Yeah.
I'm not on board with that. So yeah, for me it would be a no.
I think
Anyway, go ahead.
I think our roster is missing an ass contract, and that's kudos to Leon Rose for not having any bad contracts on the roster. If we did have a bad contract, say a Kyle Kuzma or Jordan Poole, and that was kind of the financial foundation of the LeBron James trade, and then you were giving up maybe 2 rotational pieces and one including Josh Hart, I would absolutely consider that. But if it includes any of the core 4 and Mitchell Robinson, I think you're giving up too much for someone that shortens your window dramatically over the next 2 years. You have to get really lucky with health, really lucky with injuries, and really lucky that everyone plays at least up to their contract for that 2-year window, and then you have an immediate drop off because now you don't have any assets, you don't have your draft picks, you don't have your swaps. It is very dangerous. But again, if RJ Barrett was still here, and it could be the RJ Barrett contract with Josh Hart and a Precious, I think that would do that trade because you're not after 2 years, you're not SOL. You still have some opportunities to maneuver.
Yeah, it's too much pressure on this Knicks team to get it done this year or next year to make that trade. Now, if he wants to come next season, and we give him a $5.7 million free agent mid-level exception, by all means, LeBron, be my guest. Funny enough, I feel like we're probably in the best what's the word? Political. We're probably in the best political stance with LeBron James and his agents as we've ever been since his entire career, considering Rich Paul and Leon Rose kind of they stopped their beef this season and they shook hands. So now it's like, all right, you can bring other free agents, Rich Paul agents here. Like this is probably the time where we could actually convince him to come. You've seen LeBron James even talking about Jalen Brunson glowingly, about how he works with the wings. So he actually might be able to be more willing to come here now than he did when he was with Miami. But we want to do that? No, we didn't want to do that with Durant for similar reasons. Durant is costing all that money. Durant only has a year or 2 left, and he's a big could be a big liability for us down the road because we're giving up too many pieces. So I think you put LeBron in that same category where it's just like we got to stay away from that and just small moves and keep it pushing. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I still wouldn't rule it out. Like this is one of those moves I can't rule out. Just because with Dolan, his marching orders is championship by any means necessary, and if Dolan thinks that this puts us a little better to closer, who knows whose thoughts went out. I think most fans are like, keep LeBron away, but ultimately if the boss thinks that this is going to get them a little closer to a championship, I think that may trump everything.
But Dolan himself, I feel like, said that he's been tired of getting older players past their prime here. So I think even Dolan might have learned from his past.
I you know what? I can still justify it. Like I think when a lot of times when people talk about championship windows, they're not really thinking clearly what that means. I think the Knicks are in a great spot because they're not upside down on any contract. There's no contract that if the Knicks want to trade them, the Knicks has to give up a first round pick. There's no contract on the books. There's nobody in the NBA that the Knicks couldn't trade for at this point. Like, so we're in a unique situation. Once you trade for someone like LeBron, that changes. But I think if the choice is, hey, we have a 3-year window, and if I got LeBron to have a 2-year window, if the chances increase in that 2-year window, I could still see them doing it. Like if I have a good chance in those 2 years.
How petty is Dolan?
Super. The pettiest.
Knowing that LeBron James publicly made fun of the Knicks by playing the water bottle challenge during the Franklin Lakina era, spinning the bottle while we getting blown out, and the decision. Do you feel like James Dolan can get over his petty enough to reach out to LeBron James and give a pickup? I don't know, man. This is the same dude who was kicking fans out. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like James Dolan character. If you look at his history, I don't think it's in his character to really be like, you know what, I'm a put everything aside and you can reach out to LeBron James and tell him to come to the Knicks to help us win a championship. Like I can't see James Dolan doing that. Like,
Yeah, petty McGrath. I don't see him doing that.
I think he wants it. He wants a championship bad, and I think it has like real implications. Like the Knicks want to build a new garden. Like this is a real thing. Like the Knicks really want to build a new garden.
I guess. I don't know, man. I'm going Knicks for clicks on this one, man. I'm going Knicks for clicks. I don't see it. The $52 million that it costs to get him here. I don't see us trading OG Anunoby. I don't see us trading Cat. I just don't see it.
Oh, I didn't think about that. That one I didn't consider. A Cat for LeBron trade. That's interesting. That's probably the most interesting of all the different variations that you could make, because you could rationalize it one way that you're trading Julius Randle and Dante for LeBron James, and I think I'd make that move. But then if you're asking yourself, are you trading now Cat, which I think was a net positive for us in that trade with Minnesota, if you're trading Cat for LeBron James, that gives you 3 really big, athletic, fantastic wings. You go out, maybe it's Mitch, maybe it's a Brook Lopez or someone to spread the floor. That is more interesting than a combination of 2 starters, whether it be OG and Mitch, Bridges and Hart. I'm out on those situations. Cat for LeBron, I think I would consider that. That's the most interesting one that I've heard.
I accidentally convinced Lee to trade for LeBron.
I'm not saying I would. But I would give it serious thought. I would really think about all the implications, windows shrinking, all that. Are there pits involved? Get Dalton Netch out of that deal as well to add some shooting, the other ramifications. But one for one, it is interesting, I think. You don't compromise your defense with that trade.
Yeah. And you don't have to, you have to consider more than the trade. Like there could be other trades that the Knicks are sitting on. Like they may have other scenarios they can, delve into that make more sense. It may be that one trade doesn't make sense, but maybe a series of trades makes sense.
Interesting. It makes more sense, but I don't know, man. It's still
his only thing though.
Go ahead.
Yeah, his only thing regarding like the Cat for LeBron straight up, because I think the direction the Lakers want to go right now, I think the Lakers want to be more of a defensive unit, and you already have Luka there. Then you're gonna add Cat there as well, and that's gonna make their defense even more of a liability. And I also think that Luka rather plays with a rim runner, meaning like a center that that plays in the dunker spot where you can just lob the ball up to, and and he'll dunk it at the rim and things like that, rather than a big that's gonna stay in the perimeter. So I really don't know if Cat really fits in to what the Lakers are trying to do. So I don't think the Lakers would really do a 1-to-1 trade with Cat and LeBron. I think the Lakers would more look at OG Anunoby and other pieces that the Knicks have to try to bring to the roster, rather than do a 1-1 switch with Cat.
That's very fair analysis. I mean, Luka and JJ Redick, I think, are a different scenario than what it was he's had in Dallas with Daniel Gafford and Rick Carlisle, or KP and Rick Carlisle. Sorry, not Gafford, KP. I think Cat could make it work because of his ability to get into the paint and really be a threat downhill. He's also, I mean, we don't have any lob throwers, so we don't really know if he could be someone who could thrive in that environment. He would be playing with one of the best of all time in Luka Doncic. He might be the best in the NBA right now, him and LeBron at lob. So I think it could work. I agree. He's not a rim runner, but Mark Williams is just as bad defensively as Karl-Anthony Towns, and they almost got him at the deadline last year, and that seemed to be a deal. At some point, they were at least comfortable up to a moment, and he's horrible on defense. And right now they've been playing with Jackson Hayes, who is also horrible on defense. So Cat is at the very baseline a upgrade, and is someone that can be paired with Luka long term, where LeBron James might have 1-2 more years in the NBA before he retires.
They should trade LeBron James for Anthony Davis. Wouldn't that be funny? Oh man. All right. Just final vote so we can close this out. Unless somebody else has anything else to say. Knicks for clicks or legit Fritz?
Clicks for now.
Clicks for now.
Clicks for now.
Knicks for clicks or legit Lee?
Knicks for clicks. And at this point right now, I wouldn't do any variation but trade for LeBron. I would stay as is.
See, the chorus says Knicks for clicks or legit Ryan?
Knicks for clicks. I don't see that as a move the Knicks would go after, to be real about it.
And clean sweep for me, Knicks for clicks. The video of the mumble team that he's supposedly going to made it even more Knicks for clicks for me. Like, I almost feel like it was clear at one point and they just mumbled it just to like start some controversy and have people replay it over and over again. Because I certainly did. It's like, what did he say? And it's like, Knicks for clicks for me, for sure. And just talk about coaching, like, I don't know, it's hard to like to make these big moves knowing that we don't have a coach in place. So I hope we get that done quickly. So I want to touch on some coaching news. Now, Ian Begley talked about Jason Kidd and the door being ajar, meaning, you know, there still was a possibility that Jason Kidd would come to the Knicks. He was saying that before free agency happened. And then the Dallas GM went on camera and said that Jason Kidd will be the coach of the Dallas Mavericks. And on top of that, there has been some strife with the Dallas Mavericks assistants. Assistants are dropping like hotcakes, all right? Top assistants and Dudley and Shamgod, rumors of them leaving, which makes you believe, which makes you kind of think, okay, even though they said Jason Kidd is staying, with those guys leaving, are they just posturing? So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that situation, man. I don't know. What are you thinking, Lee?
I think it's Knicks for clicks. I think Jason Kidd is staying in Dallas. I haven't heard any inside sources, but the reporters that I trust are saying that Nico is telling Jason Kidd, we will extend you just later in the season, not right now. So that tells me that ownership is probably not prepared to offer an extension at this moment, but they will do it down the line in the season. Whatever the reasons are, we're not going to hear those, but I do not think there's any chance that Jason Kidd becomes available to coach the Knicks. I think Nico's been embarrassed enough. And I think if he allowed Jason Kidd to go to New York on his watch, I think that there would be no coming back from that. He would gain a portion of the fan base, those who are idiotic and think that he had anything to do with the draft. He just gained some respect back from them by winning the number one pick and drafting Cooper Flat. So people are less frustrated, way less frustrated and angry than they were 4 or 5 months ago, right? When the trade happened. I don't think he wants to go back to that if Jason Kidd was let go. Not that Jason Kidd is beloved in Dallas, but it's embarrassing to have your head coach go through a melodramatic telenovela and then eventually leave to a team that also took Brunson and a Casey Smith. It would be a embarrassment of riches in a negative sense if he was to leave, and I don't think he will.
I don't know if anybody has anything else to add before we move on.
Yeah, I think those rumors kind of end probably tomorrow or the next day when they introduce Cooper Flag, and then Jason Kidd talks about Cooper Flag. Imagine Jason Kidd talking about Cooper Flag and their plans for him, and then he walks out the door. That's something that you just can't do. Like that's something Dallas wouldn't allow to happen. Like once you put it out there, like I'm his coach and this is our plan, you don't walk out on that plan.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I only got one more thing to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
So after the draft, I mean, I don't have inside sources like Lee, but I watched the draft. I watch, players be introduced, to the media and things of that nature. And last time I checked, when Cooper Flag was being introduced to the media, he was up there cozy with Jason Kidd and Nico Harrison. I mean, they looked like, Jason Kidd looked like he's in it for the long haul. So right then and there, that tells me that Jason Kidd's gonna probably stay in Dallas. And the whole pipe dream of, Jason Kidd leaving Dallas to come coach the Knicks is pretty much, Knicks for clicks at this point. It's not going to happen. So, and then on top of that, I can't see Jason Kidd really passing that up where, okay, you're going to get back a healthy Anthony Davis, hopefully Kyrie Irving later in the season, and you have Cooper Flag on top of that, who's right now look like a generational talent, a guy that looks like he's going to be a multiple-time All-Star, multiple-time All-NBA. Like if I'm Jason Kidd, I wouldn't even pass that up, to be honest about it. So I really can't see Jason Kidd moving at this point.
I want to add one thing that has never been reported in Jason Kidd's entire tenure while in Dallas is that Nico Harrison, Mark Cuban, or Miriam Adelson or Patrick Dumont were ever upset with him. The fans have been upset with him, but no player, no GM, or neither of the owners in his tenure have ever been upset with his decision-making or his coaches. That those optics have never been made public. If there have been disappointments, they're behind the scenes, behind closed doors. So there is no that weird backroom whispers or conjecture about disconnect between the front office. None of that has ever been reported. So publicly facing, he has done a great job in the eyes of Nico Harrison, Adelson, Dumont, and Cuban.
Also, there has been investment from the players. We see Kyrie Irving declined his year, signed up for 3 years.
Great point.
So there's investment from the players. I'm not sure if Kyrie would do that so soon if there is a question mark there.
Great point.
All great points. I do feel like the Knicks coaching search might have been held up by the possibility of Jason Kidd at the very least. But hopefully now they're getting the signal to move on. And because you already know when the coach wants to get a raise, all I gotta do is say I'm interested in the Knicks, and then boom, extension comes. So that's probably served its purpose. They signed some backdoor deal that says Jason Kidd is gonna get an extension, so that's probably gonna be already done. Now, we had some for you guys who don't know, we had Mike Brown interviewed by the Knicks already. We had Taylor Jenkins interviewed by the Knicks already, but we have a couple of new coaches that have been interviewed by the Knicks, in James Borrego and Mike Nori. James Borrego from Dallas, Mike Nori, assistant from the Timberwolves. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on those guys, and if you prefer any of those guys, even over Taylor Jenkins or Mike Brown.
Well, I guess I'll go first. Well, here's the thing. Mike Brown is a coach that, because to me, the way I look at things is, okay, Thibs got us to Eastern Conference Championship. You fired Thibs. Okay, so now you have to think about, okay, what coach is going to get us to the next level? And you have some experienced coaches, but they might have different philosophies from Thibs, whatever the case may be. But then I look at their coaching history, and I'm like, is this really what can get this Knicks to the next level? I like Brown and his stops, like, he was with the Kings, couldn't really get the Kings. The Kings had a good enough team. I think he got the Kings to the second round, I think once, I believe. I could be wrong there, but I know he had more first round exits. he hasn't really been a coach that shows me that he can get a team to the next level. To me, he just seems like a coach that, okay, if you give him a good team, like he'll get them to the playoffs. But then from there, it's like, it's no further than the first and the second round. And I feel like if you're gonna move on from Thibs, you have to probably bring in a coach that has a fresh set of ideas, a fresh set of, a fresh philosophy, you know, like someone who's like a polar opposite of Thibs, somebody who can bring in something different to the team. And for me, it's like I don't believe in recycling the same head coaches that's been at different stops and haven't done anything. Like I don't believe in that because it's like if that's the case, you should have just kept Thibs then. What's the point of bringing in different coaches from other places where they had multiple stops and no success? So at this point, I'm like bringing somebody new that with a new voice, new ideas, and everything. And for me, from what I'm reading about, each coach and what they focus on, Michael Nori really stands out to me because I'm like, this seems like a guy that he's gonna bring in new, fresh ideas into the team. Um, he's gonna refresh the team a bit. He's good. I think he would be a coach that would focus on the younger players and try to bring them up throughout the season. Because I think one place where Thibs failed at was he didn't build the bench during the season. He let these young guys sit on the bench and have them rot. And then by the time playoffs come, he couldn't get past 7, 8 guys. You know,
True.
he couldn't get past 7. He couldn't get past playing 7, 8 guys.
Mhm.
Especially against a team like the Pacers who goes like 9, 10 deep, and that's part of the reason that the Pacers got past the Knicks. So it's like you need to bring in somebody with new ideas who's gonna strengthen the bench by playing these young guys, have them develop throughout the season. Because come on, like let's be real for a second. There are several times throughout the season this year where Thibs could have definitely been like, you know what? Let me throw Kolek out there for like 5 minutes. Let me throw Daddy out there for 5 minutes. Like, let me throw these guys out there for 5, 10 minutes and just have them develop, have them gain some confidence throughout the season. He refused to do that. So ultimately, when I look at it, I'm like, Michael Nori is a guy that I feel like fresh new voice, fresh new ideas. I think he's going to refresh the team a bit. And all you have to do is, I think you just have to give him an experienced assistant staff because, he's going to be a fresh new head coach. But to me, yeah, that's who I'm rocking with right now, based on everybody who the Knicks interviewed to this point.
I'll take it next. Agree 100% with Ryan's analysis. I was laughing, bro, when you said that the players are rotting on the bench. Like, it made me angry and hilarious at the same time that our rookies never got a shot to shine, even in blowouts. I agree. Micah Nori is also my pick for 3 reasons. First of all, I want to say that I've seen some hilarious comments on Twitter about Micah Nori is a basketball genius. He knows how to use downstrings. You don't think Mike Brown, even Tom Thibodeau, you don't think Dice Yashimoto, you don't think any bum who's ever been a coach has ever utilized or doesn't know what a downstream is? Every single coach that's ever coached at any level knows every single basketball play that exists. One coach doesn't know a hidden mystery basketball play that the other 99% doesn't know. They are all aware of the basic fundamental principles of offense and defense. So let's not act like that one is a super genius Einstein and then one is Forrest Gump. That's not reality. They are in these positions because they know they're the best of the entire world at coaching basketball. That is why they're candidates. That includes all of them, from Borrego to Mike Brown. Now, to me, what matters the most, I like the fact that he's 51. I like that he's not a baby boomer. I like that he's a Gen X. He can relate a little bit in regards of communication skills. Someone who understands that these younger players, they want to be taught to, not taught at. I think that's crucial in really engaging this younger generation. It's a lot more sensitive and a lot more fragile to feedback. You need someone who is able to do that. Second, I think he has relatability with Cat. I like that he comes pre-prepared, like Tibbs did, with how to use him best, which is why I think you saw Cat get back in his bag in the low post and really become one of the most dominant on the block players in the NBA in the low post that he didn't show in the last couple of seasons. In Minnesota, it's just Tibbs knew his strengths and weaknesses very well in that regard. Third is alpha personality. You need someone that the players can look at and they respect by the way that they look, they carry themselves, their demeanor, and their attitude. And I don't think that's James Borrego. I don't think that's Don Stanley. I do think it is Tom Thibodeau. I do think it's Mike Brown. And I do think it's Mike Nori, and I do think it's Taylor Jenkins. I think presentation, relatability, and a masculine ability to rear young men is extremely important at the highest levels of all sports. I think Mike Nori, from all the interviews I've seen, talking about ball, talking about his players, talking about himself, he seems to exude that masculine character that is necessary to raise men to the utmost ability at a championship level. That's my reasoning of why I like him. But what it's really going to come down to, because all of these guys are very good in certain things, right, is in-game adjustments. And that's where I lean a little bit away from Mike Brown, because I've seen my man lose playoff series by not playing certain players. Keon Ellis, I've seen my man overly dependent on 2 or 3 actions and then veer away from it when series get out of hand with Sacramento or with the Cleveland Cavaliers. My man went to the finals with LeBron James and got swept. That tells me you didn't make enough adjustments to at least win that one game at home to stave off elimination. What's going on there? That's just my personal opinion. I like a clean slate. I like someone who come in and prove themselves with this roster, not rinse and repeat in previous rosters and try to make that fit with these guys. I want someone who is going to concentrate solely as the lead voice on this particular 7-man rotation, core rotation, and then advance it to 10 with the free agent addition. So my vote is Mike Nori, but I'd honestly be happy with any of the big 3 in Jenkins and Brown, and whoever else isn't hired, let them be assistants. And I think that's why James Borrego is being interviewed.
Yeah. My thoughts on the coaching position. I don't think it's a singular position, like where it's, this is the master genius and this is the person who's going to lead us to the promised land. I really think the Knicks think they have a great analytics squad. I think they try to put experts in a place where they're useful. So when it comes to the coaching spot, I'm not gonna line them up and say this one's better than the other. Maybe one's more useful to the Knicks than the other. So I can't really put into words who's leading, who I think will win the spot, because what they may look for or key in may not be important to you and me, but it's important to them. And I think there are certain things that Tibbs didn't do. It was important enough that they let him go.
Well,
it was important enough that they had to let him go. So there could be a candidate who's not a winner per se, but it allows their other people who go into coaching less resistance with that happening. I think so. You could get an unconventional candidate.
Well, first I'm gonna say, as far as it goes for James Borrego, when you're talking about innovation and stuff, he has a reputation of being a guy who's innovative on offense, and he just doesn't have the record to prove it because he's been assistant coaching with like crappy teams. He's like, it's like no matter how innovative you are, if you were a coach for the Charlotte Hornets, you can only look but so good.
YN University.
Appropriate gunshots for YN University. All right. But he's kind of been accredited for a guy who's been really been modern and forward thinking when it comes to offense, which is probably why the Knicks are interviewing him in the first place. So like you said, like if he's on the staff as an assistant, that would be amazing. I agree. He doesn't give me the main character energy like Lee says, but his mind, like sometimes, I kind of feel like he's it's like that guy who, I feel like he's like the guy who probably rap, but he doesn't have the persona, so he's a ghostwriter. Like that's the vibe I'm kind of getting from him. He's like not the guy who's gonna sell the tickets, but he's the guy who can give you some ideas and have you run off of them and bring you to a chip that way. And I do agree with the Nike analogy. The thing that's kind of interesting with him is that he's actually coached in the playoffs before and won the playoff games as a coach because the coach wasn't available. And also, unlike Tibbs, the head coach over there with the Wolves, allowed the assistants to kind of flex. So they take on big responsibilities, and he's actually taking big responsibilities with the Timberwolves. So I feel like his assistant coaching status is a cut above other assistant coaches just because of his coaching ability in the playoffs and the responsibilities he had with the Wolves. So he looks like a good candidate to me on top of Taylor Jenkins, in my opinion. All right. So shoot, I don't even know. Do you want to get into the Knicks for clicks or legit with another coaching
Absolutely.
candidate that has appeared?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been reported that Don Staley is been interviewed by the Knicks. Is that the verbiage?
If you believe fake journalists, yes.
Or reached out, or Knicks reached out.
Right.
Whatever
Reached
that
out
is.
about a coaching vacancy for the Knicks. College coach, you know, box. Knicks have said they're gonna turn over every rock. We're gonna look everywhere, and they've also looked there. Distinguished panel: Knicks for clicks or Knicks legit.
Clicks.
I will say we haven't gotten the Ian Begley stamp yet, but I will say legit, as I see in some of the comments saying, "Oh, this is ridiculous." I don't think it's a ridiculous idea, and I don't think the interview process. I think maybe she would be included in the interview process. Not all interviews are conducted the same. It's, I know a lot of jobs, a lot of people say, "Oh, we're considering 4 people for the job, so we're going to interview 4 people." But some interviews aren't conducted that way. I can tell you on one interview I went on, and it was a job way out of my stratosphere. But I was selected because someone met me, and I had something to do adjacent to it. But they were looking for qualities. So they were bringing in people with certain qualities. So I love this quality about this person in this industry, and they brought them all into an interview. And then they kind of got all the qualities, and I guess they hired someone based on those qualities. It wasn't that I was the best person for the job. It's someone identified, this is what I want. I want these qualities in this position. And it could be that type of interview where Dawn Staley, she is known for inspiring her players. She's been a player for herself. There are a lot of good qualities about Dawn Staley. And I think if that's how they conducted the interview, she's very worthy of being someone interviewed.
Going to disagree 1,000% with Fritz. I think it's a laughable, ridiculous virtue signaling move by the New York Knicks organization that is actually not real because National Enquirer TV reports it. Doesn't mean that it's true. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that it is true. I think it's one of the worst things the Knicks could possibly do. Now, her as a lead assistant, totally fine with that. Her as an assistant, totally fine at that. But I can't point to a male-dominated field that is a male-dominated, because it is the NBA, and then we have women in the WNBA. So the NBA is a male-dominated field. I cannot think of another one that is male-dominated at the highest level that has success with a woman leading the men. I thought about it all day since I heard it, and I couldn't think of one. So what is the expectation that this will be the one, the anomaly amongst Western civilization that proves success when there is no precedent before it in any other field outside of sports? That being said, I am not knocking her ability to win games coaching women, not knocking her ability to know basketball as much as a man, not knocking her ability to be a leader like a man. But a leader of men is very, very important in hoops and always has been. Now, what a leader looks like, sounds like, and says has evolved through time, from the 50s when it was an all-white, mostly racist lead of Jewish and white players, for sure, to now with young African-American men. But I think the same way that you look at a household and the roles of nuclear family in terms of rearing and leadership and the importance of a mom raising a daughter and a father raising a son in very specific ways, not overwhelming, but specific ways. The essence of leadership and rising to occasion typically comes from the father to the son. And I think that's mirrored professionally in sports with the coach and the player. All it takes is one player, say a Mitchell Robinson or a Deuce McBride, that isn't with it. It throws off the chaos and chemistry of the entire team. You have 99% buy-in from the owner on down to the bench warmer. But if one player who has meaningful role in that team does not buy in, you are sinking your ship before you even set sail. And I think that is a mistake that this franchise should not do in the current situation it's in, which is championship or bust, which Leon Rose told us when they fired Tibbs, they succinctly looking at winning an NBA championship. This is not the time for a wide swath of experimentation. This is time to choose the best person to lead these men and bring the best of them, because Tom Thibodeau was not that man. And Tom Thibodeau did not bring out the best of them because we didn't win a championship. I need that dude who comes in next to be that man.
I kind of will disagree on that one, because I something doesn't happen until it happens. Also, we're talking about an interview. I don't think we're jumping to head coach. I didn't say anything about being hired as head coach. I didn't say, is it Knicks for clicks, that she would be called for an interview. And I think having her come into an interview where they're getting input, I wouldn't call that off. I wouldn't say that's off the table.
Well, I agree. It's probably happened. I'm sure they've talked to her. She's a well-respected basketball mind, one of the most respected basketball minds in sports through both genders. But I don't think she's a real candidate. So to put that speculation out there as if she is a real candidate is disservice to her and her legacy, because you're using her as a virtue signaling signal to say, look, we're open to equality across the board, as Becky Hammond was put through. And she left that situation with a bad taste in her mouth. I don't think Dawn Stanley deserves that treatment either.
Well, I'm going to just say Knicks for clicks straight up, because she said herself that she doesn't want to coach in the NBA. So that's where I'm at with it. But so I mean, even if they called her, like, call an interview, is it call me to interview or call me, hey, are you interested? No. You know? That's the way my mind puts it. Now when it comes to women in coaching and their roles, I kind of feel like I kind of get the feel like this team in particular, when you talk about leading, like, leaders of men and stuff like that, I feel like this team in particular kind of grew up in a certain era where I don't feel like it would necessarily bother them that a woman is leading them. I do feel like there's certain personalities that might push back on that. I'm not sure if those type of personalities are on this team specifically. I do feel like there's an easier road to introducing a woman as a head coach, like going straight from college coach to not being assistant, not going through the process, just go straight to a head coach. I feel like that's kind of like, if you're going to be the first to do it, kind of jumping the line is kind of a little much. I feel like if anybody had a chance to do it, it was the Spurs. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Spurs, I thought the Spurs was going to be the first ones. Like, okay, you have somebody in your organization, you're grooming them. Now it's like the optics are there. She earned her spot. Boom, go ahead. To go from college, NBA coach, NBA woman, I feel like it's a lot. It's a lot happening at one time. So I don't see her being the Knicks head coach. I don't deny her ability to coach and catch on and stuff. I just feel like it's not the right time for this team to do that.
I think that I agree with what Fritz said, that that they wouldn't be okay with her being the coach. I agree with the makeup of his team. For the most part, most of them would. I'm not worried about when she's like, all right, guys, we're gonna run cone drills. You know, the big men are gonna be on this side, the guards over here with our run drills for now. They're buying into that. What I'm talking about is game 6, down 5, pressure cooker, and she's the one delivering the message. Do they respond to her the same way the Cavs respond to David Blatt? Or someone responds to Steve Nash, to Kevin Durant, to Steve Nash in Brooklyn? Or do they need a voice, but they trust more than their own, the voice doubting them in their head? Do they need a voice that actually rises them to the occasion? And is Don Stanley that voice? I think there is no precedent before and no precedent in any other field in America we can point to and say there's been success for me to say it's worth the risk.
Yeah, I feel like it's more to do with the experience than the woman versus man thing. Like, in general, I feel like Ian is saying the Knicks are looking for a veteran voice because we're a championship contending team. And let's be real, like, the Knicks is a huge market. If you fail on the Knicks, you fail in front of more than Knicks. You fail in front of the NBA. Everything you do here is magnified. So I think it's a lot more pressure for a young coach than a veteran coach, which is why I feel like they are probably going to trend towards more of a veteran coach. I mean, that's my take on it.
And Ian has signaled that he thinks it's not most likely the coach they eventually hire will have been at another stop previously and also has experience as an assistant and a head coach, and also someone who's probably around like the 50-year age bracket as well, 50 to early 60s. So Ian kind of signaled at those things. He didn't specify gender because he hasn't commented at all on the Don Stanley one. It's only been National Enquirer. So that's why I'm not giving too much substance to this. But yeah, it's very, can women lead men? Of course. Can a woman doctor have male nurses and they respect her and do their craft and be inspired by her? Yes. I'm speaking specifically to the highest levels of competition, the highest levels of talent. That's what I'm talking about. In that pressure cooker, I can't speak to, I would look at a situation in society and say, it worked in that scenario, it can work here, because it doesn't exist.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you gotta be the first one. It never works. That's the part where I agree with Fritz. It's like, it doesn't work until it works. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Jackie Robinson wasn't Jackie Robinson until Jackie Robinson became Jackie Robinson.
Yeah. And I do have one more thing to add because pretty much, everyone pretty much said pretty good points, but I do agree with Lee from this standpoint because I feel like if you're going to interview a coach and it come out in the news and things of that nature, and that coach has really no shot at getting the job whatsoever, but you're still gonna interview the coach, like that really doesn't make any sense, and it does serve as a disservice to that person because think of it this way, like for example, the NFL, like they have a Rooney Rule where it's like every team is required to interview a black coach, when they're on their coaching search. But a lot of times, a lot of these teams, they just interview black candidates, but they're not really hiring a black candidate because to them, they already have it in their mind. Okay, these are the candidates that we're really looking at, who we're really considering for the coaching job, and we're just interviewing these black coaches just because we're just fulfilling a rule.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And this is what it feels like in the Dawn Staley situation. It's like, well, we're going to interview Dawn Staley just to show, like, we're casting a wide net and we're considering every single, form of coach that we can,
We did it last year. We did it last year. We literally, not with Don, not a woman, but like, we knew we were going to hire Tom Thibodeau, but we interviewed 8 coaches, I think, 6 like we literally did it last year.
Yeah, so it's like from that standpoint, it's like that's where it's a disservice to Dawn Staley because it's kind of like as if the Knicks are just casting a wide net, but they already have it in mind. Like, yeah, we're seriously considering these candidates, but you know what? Hell, let's just throw Dawn Staley in there just to throw her in there.
Yeah, same with James to me. Like same with James to me. Unless they're trying to just put her on the staff. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. That's how I see it. All right. I feel like everybody said Knicks for clicks. That's what I'm getting. Yes, and I think
we had a real one.
Fritz is legit. I think Fritz is legit. Everybody says for clicks. Is that
for the interview, not the hire? But
the interview, not the hire.
Have we had a not Knicks for Clits? I think every single rumor we've ever announced in the 2 episodes has been Knicks for Clits. I don't think any of us have believed anything that's came out.
I mean, that's the way the summer goes. I don't believe none of this.
Me neither, man. Me neither.
When Lee was like, "Yo, we gotta do a show about LeBron James," I was like, "LeBron James? What the hell?" Like, listen, guys, I'm being more open this year about the stuff we do shows about, okay? Because if last year someone's like, "Yo, let's do a show about LeBron James," I'm like, LeBron James is not coming to the Knicks. Why am I talking about this? Like, that's my. The only way I can rationalize talking about this is putting the question, Knicks for clicks. Otherwise, I'll be at home vacuuming or something. I don't know.
But we got 100 people in the chat right now checking us out, and I think the reason they are is not because we are validating these absurd rumors and fake news, but it's because we're actually critiquing the reasons why
Right.
it's not.
Which is why I feel like, okay, this is the angle I can stomach. This is the angle I can stomach. I'm with it though. I'm with it. Oh man, but if you feel the conversation and debates and the show, hit that like and subscribe. Also, we heard some super chat. I'm sorry, yo. Shout to Parish Thugger, who's been hitting us with super chats in the summer. Where are you, sir? Where is the super chat? It disappeared on me. I gotta scroll up. Okay, here we go. Parish Thugger sends a $5 super chat. It says, NBA life is different. We have to keep our talent because of the first and second. Oh, it disappeared. I'm guessing he said first and second apron. Disassembling other teams. We're going to stay a top 4 team because of that. Yeah. If we get our top talent long term for multiple years, we should be fine. We should be fine. That Mitch decision coming up is a big one, for sure.
I got one more point I wanted to bring up to the chat, y'all. I want to talk about PJ Tucker's contract not being renewed, and Ariel Hotporty it was being renewed, and Kevin McCullough being tendered a contract. If y'all want to discuss that as well.
Oh, I was going to be my next. I was going right into that because we're talking about Ian Begley and the stuff that he's written in his latest article. And like we said in other news, the Knicks have decided to pick up Ariel Hotporty's option for 2025-2026 season and decline PJ Tucker's contract. All right. So, I mean, I kind of felt like it was happening. Like I kind of saw the tea leaves that Ariel Hotporty would be here and PJ Tucker exception would not be picked up. But I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. I guess Lee's already. Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
I advocated strongly for PJ Tucker to be added to our roster because I thought that there needed to be someone who could communicate with the players, because that was, in my opinion, one of Tom Thibodeau's biggest weaknesses, was being a good communicator with the players when they needed it. I thought PJ Tucker, with championship experience, was the right voice. It seems the Knicks agree with me. Maybe it's Durson Rosas, who watches the show and stole my idea. Who knows? But PJ Tucker was added to the roster, and he seemed to be a huge boon, morale and leadership-wise, to the entire team from top to bottom. Everyone shouted him out. Everyone talked about how he was getting on him in the locker room and opened up discourse about who was failing in certain ways. That's crucial to have veterans in the locker room. I'm a big proponent of it, but I think his job is done. I think now with a new coach, it provides new opportunities for that coach and his staff to reestablish lines of communication. I don't think PJ Tucker is as necessary in the post-Tibbs era. I would much rather have someone who can actually play basketball at a high level for more than a minute and a half before being winded or washed. So for me, I would much rather that person be an Al Horford or a Malcolm Brogdon opposed to PJ Tucker. It's time for him to open up his shoe store and become an influencer, in my opinion.
I agree, man. I agree. Like, I kind of felt like, listen, he's a great vet, but there are other vets available that I think would service the Knicks well, and like Lee said, actually play. You mentioned last free agency talk about Al Horford, the possibility of Al Horford coming to the Knicks. Ian Begley mentioned in that same article that he feels like the Knicks would kind of reach out to Al Horford. Now this is not a definite report that said they did it or they will. It's just kind of a hunch by Ian based off of the relationship between Al Horford and Karl Anthony Towns. And listen, man, this is Al Horford still got some game left, man. So I would definitely bring him on, and he's a veteran presence as well, so he can give you that veteran presence off the bench. He can give you the talking to. He can reach the players and still hit the three and still play defense and be that power forward center that we need. So I'm like it.
Yeah. I actually I probably have a little different take on it, but I thought this was just a formality. Like I was totally expecting this. Like like that the Knicks actually declining it doesn't change anything for the Knicks. And doesn't change anything for PJ Tucker either. Like the Knicks could still re-sign him. The Knicks could still use him in a sign and trade. Like it doesn't really change anything. I think at the end of free agency, you can kind of make a decision then instead of, try to add PJ Tucker first. And I think instead, if you add PJ Tucker, you add PJ Tucker last.
Good point. I agree.
Oh wait, so we can still re-sign him.
We can still resign him. You can still sign and trade him. We did the same thing last year. It's the same thing we did with Precious last year. We declined Precious.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then we brought him back. So I think what they're doing is like, okay, if we're gonna use him in a sign in trade, we'll call PJ Tucker and say, do you want to go to this team and get a minimum? We'll put you in a trade. Boom.
Question.
Yeah.
Question though. The last episode we talked about the ramifications of signing trades, and you said if we do a sign and trade, we'd be stuck at the first apron.
If we receive one.
Oh, if we receive a sign and trade, but if
can't
we
receive
ourselves sign and trade
we'll be stuck at the second apron.
Okay.
So that's
these rules, man. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think it's really a big deal. I don't think they're insulting PJ Tucker. I don't think PJ Tucker is sad. Like he knows like a call can still come from the Knicks if they need him in a trade.
Good points. Okay. All right, yo. Listen, is there anything that you guys want to touch on when it comes to the Knicks offseason? Like, I know for you guys who don't know, I know the Knicks just had a draft. There will be a draft call coming Tuesday. So if you stay tuned for that. We're going to have well, actually, shout out to Lee. Lee, he's been in the AAU circuit, and he has some inside track on one of our new players. So he will be talking about that on Tuesday. Right, Lee? Awesome.
Yep, and I have some exciting stuff around that coming to KOT soon as well.
Coming soon.
Yeah, I just wanted to shout out the Knicks front office. Like out of all the teams like we've seen in the East, the Knicks aren't the team making wild changes or weird changes at this time. You saw a lot of teams. The Knicks are built in a specific way. Now you see the Celtics, who built their team in a certain way. Now they have to kind of take apart what they put together. Now you see the Cleveland Cavaliers, who everybody says better than us, getting rid of players they really, really like because they could no longer afford them. You're seeing teams trading good players for bad players for the sake of contracts. So the Knicks knew what they were doing when they were building this. So shout out to Knicks.
Yeah.
Knicks for Klitz or legit a rookie cracks the rotation next season.
A rookie. You talking about this year rookie, not anybody
Last
we got
year
last
rookie?
year.
Last year's rookie, year 2 young player. Knicks for Klitz or legit.
Describes cracks rotation.
Plays every game as part of the 9-10 man rotation. Plays with regularity, not spot minutes or when called up from the G League, but plays.
Knicks for clicks.
Yeah, Knicks for clicks for now.
Knicks for clicks. Like
It's I think it's going to depend on who's the coach. At the moment, it's hard for me to really make that call because I don't know who the next Knicks coach is going to be. So I don't know how that Knicks coach is going to look at young players and things of that nature. But at the moment, you have to say Knicks for clicks because we don't know. Although, if I see something in Summer League, I might change my mind. If I see something in Summer League,
Man,
but as
summer
of
league is
now,
summer
it's
league,
Knicks for
man.
clicks.
Summer league don't count.
Okay. Okay.
Kevin Knox was nice in summer league, bro. Okay, I'm sorry.
Do we think a player from summer league could make the Knick roster?
You know what? Maybe Kolek. Maybe Kolek only because of the money. Like, I don't know if Campaign, I don't think he's gonna come back. Do we have the money for Campaign and Wright? I don't think so. So if we don't have the money to bring back those guys, then I kind of feel like we're kind of forced to play Kolek. Right? I'm spitballing here. I know we got Fritz, NBA economy Fritz over here. You probably done this scenarios many times.
I think Dadier is gonna crack the rotation.
You think Dadier is gonna crack the rotation?
Yeah. Oh, when you said rookies, I thought you meant like our 2 new draftees. But yeah, I think Dadier is gonna crack the rotation by January.
I think Knicks for Klitz. Don't think any of the 4 have a chance, including Kolek, who I don't think has a chance. I think we probably end up getting Malcolm Brogdon from the tea leaves that I'm reading, or someone like maybe we bring back DeLon Wright. I think that veteran gets that spot as a backup point guard. I don't think a brand new coach is going to want to depend on a second-year player to be his backup playmaker. I think he's going to want a veteran in there to keep his own sanity and his own job security intact.
It's hard to say because free agency hasn't really started yet, so I don't know who we have. But it's like, it's just hard to say. If Dylan Wright is on his team, then I agree with you. I don't think Kolek plays. Next season, he'll play spot minutes. Because the key, the lead said, was every game. But I feel like it's going to be spot limits. I feel like there'll be more spot minutes for Dadier, depending on game situations, blowouts, size, restraints, cold nights. But also, like, it really depends on who we get. Like, say we get a wing and a power forward, then maybe you see Kolek. Because you talk about Al Horford, we still have Shemet here, who's still kind of undersized. So maybe they go wing. If they go wing, then you might see Kolek. I don't know. But it depends on free agency. It really does.
Yeah, Shaman's not on the roster, but
yeah, but he's not on the roster. But I feel like he'll be back.
You think he'll be one of the 3?
Yeah, I feel like Shaman's going to be back.
I think he's the most likely of all the free agents.
Right.
Precious, the least likely.
Yeah, Precious knows he's gone. He knows it himself. All right. Yo. Anybody else will have any other questions? Anyone?
Got a bro pick though.
Bruh. What you got, bro?
My lone bro pick for the evening is the Chicago Bulls front office because a wild stat came out the other day saying that the Bulls traded away Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, and Alex Caruso, and didn't get 1 first-round pick in return for any of those players. No, wait. They did get back a first-round pick, 1, which was their own.
Bruh. Masterful. I mean, let's really break it down, though. Lonzo Ball, kind of damaged goods. If you're trading for Lonzo Ball, you're hoping he doesn't get injured. So you kind of a gamble. You're gambling a little bit with Lonzo Ball. Let's just you're gambling.
That is true, but I think when Lonzo Ball first came to the Bulls, at that time, to get to acquire Lonzo Ball, you would have to give up a first round pick when they first acquired him.
That's a
It's
fact.
it's just unfortunate that he got injured, and now to trade him, it doesn't require a first round pick anymore to acquire him.
My bad. I'm
At this
stepping on
point
you,
in his
Joe.
career.
I'm stepping on you, Joe. My bad. They all depreciating assets. If you really want to be real talk,
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, yeah. Like when the Bulls first acquired him, that's when they was at their highest peak value wise.
Mhm.
Then as the years went on the Bulls, then the value just dipped, and it's just crazy because you look at those four names, you would think that the Bulls would get at least a couple of first round picks or something out of trading
Yeah,
those four guys, and they end up getting none.
Like Caruso was like
Caruso
runner-up.
might be the one.
Yeah,
Like he was like runner up for defensive player of the year. Like, what are you doing?
That yeah, you probably need something more for Caruso, especially considering what you just saw last in the damn finals. Like you probably should have got some Caruso. I don't know what, but yeah, DeRozan, maybe even DeRozan,
Yep. 20-point player at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Depreciating
Oh
assets.
wow,
No.
we have a free agent jumping in.
yeah, I just saw it.
You see that?
Yeah,
What happened? What I missed?
I know Ryan G would love to do this one.
Let's talk about it.
well, DeAndre Ayton is finalizing a contract buyout with the Portland Trailblazers to become a free agent.
What?
Do it. 100%. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah! What?
Sign him. MLE.
Yep.
MLE. Give
I
him
got
an-
5.7 million reasons.
Yeah.
Whoa! You think okay? DeAndre Ayton. Okay, let me just tell you something about DeAndre Ayton. I've had my issues with the way he has played his entire career.
Yep.
Chris Paul. Whenever Chris Paul has gone, young players love him. They tout him. They talk about how they elevated his game. SGA just won a championship talking about how Chris Paul has elevated his game and taught him and brought him up. And look, Chris Paul went to that Oklahoma City team. They thought there was going to be a lottery team, and they made the playoffs. So they was like the 8th seed or something. Chris Paul has done that everywhere he's went. Then he goes to Phoenix, and he just seems like he cannot get through to DeAndre Ayton. With all those veterans there, none of them can get to DeAndre Ayton. Gets the bag, goes to Portland, gets with Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups has a shaky first year. It actually seemed like there was a time where he might have been getting to it. Like, I feel like there was an instance where DeAndre Ayton's game was elevating a little bit, and then I think he had like injury issues. Peculiar though about the timing of this. Why now? Why opt out?
No, he didn't opt out. They're buying him out.
Oh, why?
Yeah.
Oh, they're buying him.
Yep.
So they're like, here's your money. Like this is his expiring year. So they're like, hey,
They
here's your
don't
money.
even want to.
Go away. Mhm.
Right.
They don't even want to.
Cause you know what? They just drafted a center. Cause I was like, wow, they got like 5 centers. Like, how are they gonna do this?
So my opinion on the situation is I agree with everything you say, JLS. There's definitely a motor issue, personality issue, arrogance issue, ego issue, all those things. That is for certain. I do think looking at the Philadelphia, and if you're going to trade him for $25 million salary, it's a hell no. Absolutely agree with you. It has been reported multiple times, and Knicks have always checked in on Ayton, both when he was in Phoenix and in Portland. That was reported by the big reporters that there was some interest there in bringing him in, but the contract to me was always what stopped them because it was like 25 to 27 million, something like that. The deal that he got in Phoenix. Portland probably searched the trade market because of new CBA. No one wanted to take on that deal, so they're like, "Damn it, let's bite the bullet, eat the last year, and then be able to give our young rookies more minutes." Or whether it's Robert Williams or somebody else that's playing the 5. Donovan Kleingen, I like him. for the mid-level exception because it moves Cat permanently to the 4 and it gives him a really dynamic center offensively, who's a good rebounder to play at the 5. Those double bid lineups between Cat and Ayton or Cat and Mitch, depending on what you need, any matchup is barbecue chicken with those 3 in the rotation. I like Cat at the 4 way more than I like Cat at the 5. So to me, I'm for it.
He has to buy in. He has to buy in.
I really, really like it. And you know how, as many times I said, trade Mitch, this would be a perfect opportunity to have someone split time with Mitch. I think this makes a sense of having Mitch and Ayton. It's 2 different sides of the coin. One is better offense, one is better defense.
Man,
And
I have
think it
Ayton
makes
off the
sense.
bench, man. You got to earn my.
But you split them too.
I agree.
So,
Yeah.
so yeah, whoever the
agree.
matchup is.
I don't
whoever the
trust
matchup-
dude, yo. Talking about a 5.7. I might give him the 1 point. What's the other one? The 1.3? I might give him the 1.3, bro. Like,
Man.
they bought you out. As
Yeah.
much talent as you have, you got bought out
Yeah.
of a big contract. That contract was not small.
36, I think.
Yeah. Here's the thing though. I do think for the value, 5.7 million is worth the risk.
Hell yes.
It's not like you're throwing 20, 25 million at him. It's just 5.7 mil.
You right.
If you can somehow get through to him and have him play to his potential, that would be a major boost for the Knicks, especially coming off the bench. Because right now he wouldn't start on the Knicks. Like I wouldn't start him on the Knicks. I would have him come off the bench. But if somehow he can get through to his head and have him focus, that would be a huge lift for the Knicks off the bench.
Yeah.
Yep.
Keep Mitch, keep Ayton, keep them together.
His best friend on Phoenix was Mikal Bridges. So there you have the instant connection there. This is a scenario where I think I keep PJ Washington because I think let's bring him back, just be an assistant coach, whatever it takes, and keep that boy motivated. I think that's crucial. His motor and his energy and his commitment to defense in order for him to play. If he doesn't, you cut him by the trade deadline, Jay, and you go after somebody else. So I like the idea for 5.7. It's great value. And bench him. Yes.
Y'all make sense. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm having an emotional outburst because I hated dude from Rip. He seems like a wasted talent, man. It seems like a wasted talent. Like to me, okay, if he gets to the Knicks, to me, this is his last chance. Like, you get bought out like that, your career is on the line, bro.
Agreed.
This is your last chance.
He actually played well at the end of last year.
He did. He
played well. He played well at the end of last year. But they just brought in a brand new rookie.
Right.
And they already had Klingon. They already had Klingon before. So I mean, they're just loading up on like young bigs.
Right. But I'm saying the fact, all that to the side, the fact that they have him there, he had an improved year, and yet still you can't trade him.
Well, Jay, I think the salary number had something to do with that, and you're trading for him with the expectation of what you're giving up. Now you have to re-sign him.
Right.
There's a risk there, so I think other teams were not willing to take on that contract number and the risk of re-signing him if he doesn't pan out. I think that's why under the new CBA regulations, he wasn't able to be traded. In the past, I think he would have because things were different and it was more looser to build super teams. But in this regard, bro, I mean, he's got finals experience, and on a bad year, gave you almost 15 and 10, 2 assists, a block. Like, man, his field goal percentage around the rim, excellent. He's better than any other big that we've had outside of Isaiah Hartenstein and Mitch. Like, he's super solid.
I agree. I said in the beginning, he's improved. He's definitely improved on the Chauncey Billups on his last year. I'm down for him being here for 5.7 million for sure. I'm just like, boy, don't mess this up, man.
We have to get more details on what the buyout is, because I think the way the buyout works, like, I think he's giving a little bit of money back. So if he gave back $1 million, giving him 5.7 isn't going to give him more money. I think I think he can't make more money. I'll have to look into it, but depending on how the buyout works, it may not need to be
What was his contract
5.7.
like,
It might not have to be 5.7.
Because they damn near maxed him out in Phoenix, right? That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like 36 and a half or something.
36 and a half, which is not, I mean, that's Julius Randle numbers at this point.
35 and a half.
15 and 10, improving. He's not worth 36.
Hell no.
He's definitely not worth 36. 15 and 10, he's not worth 36.
I would say he's not even worth half that. I mean, that's bold because of the issues with the motor. You don't know what you're going to get. Does he care about basketball? But 5.7, 1 year qualifying deal? Hell yeah, let's do it.
Exactly. And like Lee said, like if he doesn't fall in line and he's not focused and he's not giving you his best, then he sent his ass to Beijing.
Yep.
Yeah. Ariel Hawkporty is pissed at this happened. I'm just telling you.
I'm gonna say, I think there's a very high likelihood he probably signs with the Lakers. I mean, if I'm going to keep it a buck, I think he goes to LA. He's a cheaper option for them. They don't have to scour the market. They keep Neck, Dalton, and they just sign him for the 5.7 or whatever the hell it is.
Rim runner.
Shoot the lobs all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple job in LA.
He would start too. Like let's be honest.
Yo, he's gonna piss LeBron off. I give him 1 month. 1 month before he pisses LeBron off. Unless maybe he changed. Maybe he's mature. I don't know. Let me shut up. Maybe he's mature. All right. We'll see what happens though. They saying the chat saying Kessler going to the Lakers. We'll see. You'll see. Does the Lakers have pieces to trade for Kessler? Because Utah be asking for the sun, moon, and stars for their players.
They have picks.
They have a couple of guys Utah would love.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, yo.
I thought that joke was going to be a home run. Damn, my bad. I really thought that joke would cook, but
Yo, I caught it last minute. Like it took me a while to process. Like, oh snap.
Damn, I missed it. My bad.
oh, Danny Ainge, he's died tight, man. What can I say?
Oh man.
Damn.
Oh man. Bad bitches is the only thing. All right. All right, yo. And Ayton rant. What do you guys think? DeAndre Ayton to the Knicks? 55 say no, 44 say yes. Oh wow. 55% voted no. They said, give me the Al Horford and keep it moving. All right, cool.
That's crazy. All right.
Cool. All right, yo. Yo, that's the show, guys. Thank you guys for watching. We had a good show. We talked about LeBron James, talked about the coaches, we talked about Staley. We talked about it all. And we will be here talking about the Knicks rookies on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, or it might be 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So be here or be square. All right. All right. Fritz, let me know where you can find you, man.
Yeah, you can find me. Fritz handles on Twitter. NBA Economy Show. We're having a lot of shows this week. This is the prime time signings, trades. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of shows.
All right, that's what's up. With every NBA Economy shines. It's always great to have a guy who can explain the cat to me, because sometimes I mix stuff. Just like we can sign and trade a player, but we can't accept a sign and trade player. I didn't know that until today. Thank you, Fritz. All right. Lee, let them know they can find you.
On Twitter @_ Lee Escobedo, LeeEscobedo. I am currently reading Grant Morrison's run on the new X-Men, which inspired much of the plot of Daredevil versus Wolverine with Cassandra Nova, and it is extremely good. Highly recommend. The new X-Men Volume 1 came out in the 2000s by Grant Morrison. It's been a super fun read today while I've been thinking about basketball, taking a break and reading comics.
That's what's up. All right. Okay, my man. Ryan G, let them know they can find you, sir.
You can find me on Twitter at RyanGKOT. You can also find me on Instagram at Sir G is chilling.
Sir G is chilling.
That's SIR. G is CHILLIN.
All right, you can find us at the KOT Show on Twitter, the Nick of Time Show on Instagram, and the Nick of Time Show on Facebook as well. You can also find us on TikTok as well at the Nick of Time Show. All right. And listen, if you like this show, if you like the debates, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're here talking Knicks. Whenever we get a coach, we come on here, we're gonna talk about it. If somebody gets, we get a free agent, we're gonna come here and talk about it. So come here and rock with us at the KOT Show. All right. That is the show. Appreciate you guys. Like, share, subscribe, all that